Are are we are we are we live? Okay, I think we are. All right. Well, listen, y'all know what the intro look like, cause listen, don't listen. Okay, welcome to another episode of One Being Brave. I'm your host, Domo Jones. How you doing? Y'all good? Are y'all straight? Like, I really wanted my intro, like my song, but it's okay though because the song's in my head. Dun, dun, Cause it's always gonna be in the dome. You feel me? Like it's always gonna. Cause y'all know, I am so glad that you guys are here because let me tell y'all, my guests, y'all not even ready. Y'all don't even y'all don't even know what's to come. Well, I don't even know what's to come, but it's gonna be too legit to quit because all my guests are top tier, so it don't even matter. And that's on period. All right, so let's get into the house rules. No profanity. Because why? Like, why we don't even need to? For what? It's like way too many words. You feel me? So we're just gonna use them. No bashing of race, religion, gender, politics, or sexual preferences. Why? Because from one blood he made all the nations. I was about to find a word to rap it, but I couldn't. But it's okay though, because I am a rapper and it's gonna come out. It's gonna flow. I thought you know. Oh, I told you. It's gonna flow. I thought you know. Toto. Oh, Domo, that's crazy. Toto? Like, come on. We in it to win. Farts again. Okay, Domo, get through the house rules. Like, golly, you doing too much. You gotta relax. Okay, so no bashing of race, religion, gender, politics, or sexual preferences. Yeah, all y'all cousins, like all y'all family, all y'all kinfolk, all y'all invited to the barbecue, and tell them I sent you. Who gonna check for me? Oh, cause who? You gotta do the head. Who gonna check for me? Oh wait, you gotta grab the air too. Who gonna check for me? Oh, cause period. Also, this show is called One Billion Brave because it represents the 1 billion people of the world. Thank you, Mom, because I'm a rapper. Thank you, Mom. You know, you taught me well. It represents 1 billion people of the world that have a disability and or a medical condition. Old heads, y'all know what I'm about to say. Newcomers, catch on very quick. Get you one of us in your circle. Don't get you one of me, but get you one of us. Because I'm telling you, our community, the tiers right here, we're on top of that. Racks on what? Racks. And that's it. I can't even explain it. We're just that dope. And that's just, you're welcome. Because when we get you one of us in your circle, then you're going to be like, dang, bro, I should have listened. Yeah, you should have. But it's okay, though, because if you don't know, now you're what? Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Also, this show, this is one of the most important rules. That's a disclaimer. On this show, we talk about Jesus Christ. I don't care what nobody else got to say. On here, JC is the what? Way to be. It's just too much. It's just too much. Who is that? And folks, here we go. This is my dad. I don't know about the champ. I don't know whose champ he is, but here we are. He's in here, so let's all just give him a hey, how are you? Hey, how? Let's all give him a hey, because wants the people to know. Hi, Grandma. Thank you, Grandma. I appreciate that. Blue, because we're true on blue. Okay. Also, yeah, we talk about Jesus Christ. I mean, that's just pretty much it. Last rule, last one of the most important rules. This show is one of the very few shows that has a hostess. Girl, why are you using your hands so much? This show has a very few. Domo, not today. Act like you know how to talk. Okay. This show is one of the very few shows that has a hostess with a disability that interview. Domo, calm down. Cause talk. Like, why you over here fumbling over your words as if you don't know what you're saying? Girl, get it together. Thank you. Has one of the very few shows that has a hostess. What up? Love you. That has a hostess with a disability that interviews guests with disabilities and or medical conditions. Lady O, Tyler Perry, Mother Ava DuVernay. I'm coming to see all. Oh, don't do that sign. I'm coming to see all three. And that's it. I'm coming to see all three. And don't you know me? What you know about coming? Okay, yeah. I got my touch today. What's going on? Yeah, and that's it. Lady O, thank you, Mom. Because goodness, get it out. Use your words. Lady O, I'm coming to the house first. It's a little cold, it's a little brisk outside. So we're gonna have to be in the house by the fireplace. Okay. Tyler Perry. I mean, we got choices with you. We can go to the stew. You got a grip of them. We could go to the house. We can go to your dog on jet, flying, airplane pad. It don't even matter. We can even meet up for a coffee. Like, I don't even care, bro. Like, you just let me know. Send me the location and focus on communicating. That's it. And then, after we go and done with you, thank you for your time. Take care. God bless. Be safe out here in these streets. It's going to be time to get our locks done. So me and Mother Ava DuVernay, we're going to be at Rockefeller. And we're going to get the locks done. I'm in chair 1. She's in chair 2. I'm in the dryer 1. She in the dryer number 2. And we're talking. Yakety yak, don't come back. It makes sense. In my head, it makes sense. So listen, I'm going to tell y'all this. I need y'all to hear me clearly. Because when it happens, okay, tell them I sent you. When it happens, you heard it here live. Shuck and jive. Why the old heads used to say that? You heard it here live. Shuck and jive. Period. Okay, that's my spiel. Sidebar. I just got these earrings. I'm representing, ain't I? Because can't nobody tell me I'm not representing my community. You feel me? Look, I represent. Gabe, not too much. Don't be back there too much. Don't do that. Not too much, Gabe. I'm gonna tell. Not too much. Listen, we representing. Collaboration is key. Thank you. I got these earrings and I was like, no, you gotta get them. But because y'all, what community am I in? Oh, okay. Front side what? Service. Child, they not even ready. Girl, why did you get these earrings? Why did you get them? Because you're doing too much. Why did you get these earrings? That's so, you like, Domo, you so loud with these earrings on. Why are you that excited? As y'all can tell, I like earrings. Can you tell? Can y'all tell? Girls, okay. Can y'all tell? I like earrings. I love you too. I have to get these. These earrings are dope. I don't care what nobody say. Okay, so real quick. This month, we're starting a new segment for this season, and we are representing the all or the majority of the awareness ribbons. So this month is one of the ribbons, and y'all probably don't even know about it, but we're about to share it on this show because I feel like people need to know. Gabe, can you tell us what the ribbon for this month is, please? I beg of thee. Birth Defects Awareness Month. Come on. Oh, I like this. I like this format, Gabe. Thank you. This is kind of dope. I see you doing your big one, Gabe, and I appreciate that. This month is, the month of January is Birth Defects Awareness Month. And the ribbon colors are magenta and navy blue. We representing all of them on here. You feel me? Because collaboration is key. Period. Thank you, Gabe. I appreciate that. Okay, so before I bring on my next guest, let me say something real quick. Because two people this past weekend, two people, Gabe, could you remove that please? We appreciate it. Thank you. Two people were very surprised. I guess they didn't know my personality, and they were very when they seen the show. Sidebar. Shout out. I really appreciate all the new people that are viewing and all the new people that are hearing about it and all the new people that are tuning in. I definitely appreciate it. I don't take it lightly. I don't know who's watching, and I do that on purpose because I don't ever want to get too high, too pious that I'm doing it for the views because I'm really not. If you view it, I appreciate it. If you don't, you will. Come on in, check me out. See what we're talking about. Gabe sees everything and he doesn't tell me anything on purpose. So I definitely do appreciate it. All the people that are watching, all the ones that tune in. Thank you. And all newcomers, come on in. Take a seat. Okay. So, with that being said, two people came to me on this weekend and was like, I didn't even know. One, that you had a show, and then two, I didn't know that you had a personality like that. I guess because I'm quiet. That is so funny to me. Because am I quiet? Like when I'm not in my zone, am I quiet? I feel like I'm not. I feel like I'll be talking. But yeah, I really appreciate first of all, I appreciate you even watching. And this is my personality. This is who I am for real, for real, for real. But I just thought that was very funny that people thought that I was quiet. Like, huh? Okay, girl. Okay. All right, so now my next guest. Are you ready for him? Because I am, and that's on period. I'm super grateful as the old heads know. I'm really not. I'm really not, friend. As the old heads know, I don't know my guests ahead of time. I don't. And I do that on purpose. My dad, here he comes. I'm hilarious. You're right. I'm not funny. I'm hysterical, comical. Oh, well, yeah, because I be in business mode at church. Okay, so stay focused, Domo. All right, so my next guest, I'm super excited. I appreciate you, friend. Thank you for being a guest last week. I appreciate my guests for asking and being available because I don't take my guests lightly. It's not easy talking about either yourself or who you caregive to, and I appreciate that. And as 95% of y'all know that I don't know my guests ahead of time. I just met him 10 minutes for a show, and now he's my friend. Now he's stuck with me, and he don't even know what he know now. He's stuck with me. We friends for life. Locked in. Locked in. Him and his family. He don't even know that, but he know now because he's listening backstage. I'm a little meek. Y'all not about to play me on my show. Shoot. All right, so let me bring on my next guest, David K. Come on out.
Here I am. Hello.
Let's go.
Let's go.
How are you?
Wow, that is a great intro. I'm doing great, Domo. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Thank you so much for being a guest. I definitely appreciate it. I don't take it lightly.
Oh, no, it's my pleasure. And like I said, it's a wonderful opportunity to tell our story. So again, thanks for having me.
We in there. Your background is super dope too. Bricks on bricks on bricks on bricks. We in there. All right, so can you tell for the people in the back, can you tell us where you're from and
You bet.
Who you are a caregiver to?
Yeah, so live in the Seattle area. We're in the upper northwest of the U.S. And a proud dad of 19-year-old twin boys, one of whom is a non-speaking autistic boy. And that's the one who I have the story to talk about. I'm the caregiver as well as my wife. like I said, a family of four, but he was diagnosed with autism just before the age of 3. Always
Oh.
struggled with communication, with speaking in particular.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so what's kind of put into the traditional route that a lot of these kids are put into because they struggle to communicate. So intensive ed, he wasn't able to take standardized tests because, as we learned later, and what I'll tell you a little bit about is, it turns out his name is Stone, like a Rolling
Come on,
Stone.
Stone.
Stone, he's a rock star. He's
Bye.
so he's awesome. Um, but they have a brain body disconnect, which basically means that they have difficulty controlling their body. So that's why a lot of times people, if you see someone who's autistic, they may be stimming. You hear them talking. You could see them flapping. They talk about that, doing a lot of things, and it's because they can't control their bodies,
Right.
which would make communication really hard, right? Because when you think about how do we talk, well, we have to form words with our mouth. We need to have fine motor control. Even how do you write? You have to have fine motor control.
Right.
If you can't control your body, that makes it really hard. That makes it
Right.
really hard.
So with your son, I know there's different spectrums of autism.
Yeah,
For your
it's
son, can you just explain to us what kind of symptoms does he have?
well. So again, it's non-speaking is the great or unreliable speaker. So of course we had him in all kinds of therapy, including
Mm-hmm.
speech therapy for gosh, probably a dozen years. So he was able to learn because he works really hard. All of these kids, of course, everyone works so hard, to try to communicate because that's such a fundamental part of who we are
Right.
as people. So he would have speech, saying things like pizza or 1 or 2 words, but again, it was unreliable and it was very difficult for him to form words together. So what we know now in terms of like the spectrum is now that he can communicate, and that's what I'll get to is what we discovered 2.5 years ago was this methodology that
Mm-hmm.
allows him to communicate that was absolutely life changing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he went from being in this intensive ed program where he was spending his time still doing remedial work because, again, they were teaching him like it was remedial because he wasn't able to take standardized tests to move up,
Right.
in kind of they call it like a work opportunities type of a program, right? Where they want to train kids who they feel have intellectual disabilities to have some type of a job, like, maybe stocking shelves or things like that. But that was kind of the path he was on. And then Domo, a friend of mine called me. I'll never forget. It was the summer of 2022. She said, "Hey, I'm friends with another family who has a son who I think is a lot like Stone. We've known each other since college. So she's tracked all the progress and all the things that we had tried to do to help Stone
Right.
communicate." And she said, they've tried this methodology. I don't really understand it that much, but the dad wrote a book, and the book was called Underestimated. And you might want to check it out because now the son is able to communicate, and they're doing all kinds of different things. So I was like, all right, I'll check it out. But I was skeptical, like most parents are, because we've gone through, usually, again, he was 16. So we've gone through every therapy, biomedical, everything that you could think of, everything we learn of, right? Just to try to unlock his brain because we knew he was smart. I mean, because
Right.
he was able to demonstrate intelligence in a lot of different ways, so many different ways, his sense of humor. We just knew the key was just trying to unlock that brain to help him come out.
Right.
And so I was able to read the book. I was able to connect with the author, and he's like, dude, you've just got to, the best practitioner. It's called spelling. There's a couple of different names. It's kind of like spelling or spelling to communicate. And what it is, I brought a prop, but because we're talking about motor skills, what this population is able to do is they do have gross motor skills. So that means they can point, right? And if you can train them, it's just like any other motor skill, golfing or playing pool, or if you practice, you can get more accurate. So the idea is it starts with, you see the letterboard? It's kind of,
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of the
Literally.
green
Yeah.
screen's playing with. Okay. But you can see how it's a stencil.
Uh huh.
So the way it starts is they they hold a pencil, in this case a pen, but they poke basically, and they are able to spell.
Yeah.
But the oh my gosh moment was that, again, because they've been trapped in their minds for so long, there's been this presumption, unfortunately by society, and like I said, unfortunately by schools, that they're intellectually disabled, that they're not, they're just not as intelligent as others, that they're not taking in things. Could not be further from the truth.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, I talked to the author. He said, the best practitioner, you got to go down, book a few sessions. You got to start on this. And she's down in San Diego. So I talked to my wife. She said, yeah, let's do it. So we booked a trip down to San Diego. It was 6 sessions over 3 days. And the way it starts is he sits next to the practitioner and she reads a lesson, because it's taught through just different lessons. I'll never forget this. His first lesson was just about Benjamin Franklin. And what they do is they read a part of the story, kind of like, his background. They spell out words and they'll pause and they'll say, hey, can you spell like kite, for example? Right. And then they start, and then he's able to poke, kite. And the first time you see this, again, because this is something that just, for years we hadn't been able to see, was like, wow. And then they start asking questions related to the story, like where did Benjamin Franklin grow up? Philadelphia. But the big moment, and this is like realizing that there's so much there that was just untapped in his brain, was she
Right.
asked him a question that wasn't even in the lesson that she had just read. She said, who were we fighting in the Revolutionary War? And I'm sitting there because I'm behind, right? They're doing this. And I have nothing. I'm just sitting there watching. And Stone spells out the British. I'm like, how does he know that?
Right.
How, I mean, because he didn't have history. They didn't give him, he had no academics in school. They didn't give him math. They didn't give him history. He didn't have any of that. But he knew it. He knew it because he and so many of the others in this population is known as like I said, non-speakers or unreliable speakers,
Mm-hmm.
are incredibly smart. And what they've been doing, like I said, just because they can't communicate doesn't mean that the cognitive ability isn't there. As a matter of fact, it's there in a huge way. And so they've been spending their whole lives absorbing, listening, and taking in as much information as they can, because they have this incredible passion to learn, as most kids do anyway, right? Kids love to learn.
Right.
And they really do. And so we got to that point, and we were off and running, right? Like, we had 6 sessions and each one got better. I got training how to work with him, so that when we came home, we could just keep progressing. And it just was unbelievable. Like I said, life changing, right? Because he finally is like, oh my gosh, I can finally show the world, including my parents and the world, how smart I am. In the meantime, like I said, he's a twin. He has a twin brother, who was always in the gifted program, right? So his name's Ty. Ty is always in these, he was the one we knew because he was able to speak and communicate like a typical child. We knew that he could count to 100 when he was 3. We knew that he had taught himself to read. Like, he was watching the Weather Channel when he was 4 and telling us like crazy stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we knew that he was really in a different category. We didn't realize, of course, because there was just no way to know that Stone was in the same thing, in the same boat. Just like Ty had taught himself how to read, Stone has told us he taught himself how to read too.
Wow.
We just had no way of knowing that.
Yeah. So, like, when you were at home, even before, I want to go back a little bit
Yeah.
before you found this new knowledge of, the things that now he can do. When you were in that gap of the 3 years up
Until like his
how did
junior year, roughly. Yeah.
yeah, like, how did you learn? How did you teach, or how were you able to communicate with him?
It was very challenging. It was difficult, especially the communication, the teaching. Like I said, he was in intensive ed classrooms.
Mm-hmm.
And we try to defer to who we thought at the time were the experts. We thought that these were the people who knew what they were doing. Unfortunately, they didn't. They did not presume competence,
Mm-hmm.
which is one of the key messages here, is that we have to presume competence,
Right.
first and foremost. Just because someone can't talk doesn't mean that they're not smart, because they are. As one has
Exactly.
nothing to do with the other. So that was a challenge, Domo. Like I said, he did have limited vocabulary, so there were certain
Mm-hmm.
needs that he was able to get. Like I said, certain things, like if he wanted to eat something. But here's the interesting thing. So I was talking about the brain body disconnect
Mm-hmm.
and how it's tough for them to control their bodies. Well, it's even to the point where he's explained that his body may do the opposite of what his mind tells it to do. So imagine how this would play out. Again, talking about standardized tests, right? You think
Right.
about just a test, multiple choice test. They give you an easy test. You're reading this third grade level, reading test, and they ask you, okay, what's Johnny going to eat or whatever. You're like, all right, that's easy. That's D. But your brain says D, but your body says A. So you press A, you get it wrong. And the teacher's like, oh, okay, they scored in the 20th percentile. That's, there's still a lot of work to do. Or again, we say, hey, what do you want to eat? He'll say, no pizza, no pizza. Well, actually, in his mind, he's saying, I want pizza. Because what we've
Uh,
learned now is he'll still do that. I'll still ask him, like, again, yeah, what do you want to eat? He'll say, no quesadilla. I'll say, okay, spell it out for me, and I'll pull out the letterboard. And now he's typing on a keyboard, an iPad, all
yeah.
kinds of things. But I'll get something. I'll say, okay, I just want to confirm, what do you want? He'll say, yes, I want. And he said, like, believe what I type. Believe what I type or what I
Right. Yeah.
spell,
Because that's
not what
what
I say. Don't listen to my
Yeah. Like,
mouth.
don't listen to what like. Believe
But
what
can
I'm
you
telling.
imagine how frustrating that would be, though, not be able to communicate, and then even the limited communication that you have would be so
Right.
kind of twisted, right? Like, it wouldn't be reliable.
Yeah. Very true. It's I now I get like the body and head, that the separation between the two, that can very much so be frustrating. But I am glad that now he's at a better advantage with the. I'm so glad that your friend told you about this.
Oh my gosh. It's
Man,
it's yeah. I mean, you talk about
goodness.
whatever you want to call it, right? Like, I mean, fate, whatever. Yeah, because it's scary. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
think about it, right? Because again, the path, the way I've described it, so we were on a path that was a predictable path, because this
Mhm.
was the expectation that society and that schools have for
Right.
kids. Like, right, this is what he's going to do. He's going to go this. He hated it, absolutely hated it. They would call me, because this is how smart he was. It was so awful and boring for him. They would call me and they say, "Oh, we don't know what's wrong with Stone. He's in the bathroom and he's yelling." And we live, and this is like, the school's literally like 100 yards from my house. And I'd be like, all right, I'll come over there. And they're like, well, why don't you just send him? Why don't you just go home with you? And, we'd be walking home and he'd be cracking up. Like, he's like, yeah, it worked, because he hated it. It was because it
Right.
wasn't
Yeah. He was trying
challenging.
to get out of there. Right.
So
He know what he was
so
doing. He didn't want to be around it.
so here's the other part of the story. I mean, there's a lot of different, but the really cool part is, like I said, once we realized how smart he was, because I'm working with him hours now, right? Like, I'm just like, oh my
Yeah.
God, want to get to know your son. And this is just
Right.
like, it's just mind blowing stuff. But we're like, okay, he needs access to real education.
Mhm.
Like, he needs age appropriate curriculum, because this is all
Mhm.
stuff, because he was doing math. He had taught himself math. I was doing stuff, I mean, all kinds of stuff, right? So we went to our school and we're like, okay, we want him to have access to a letter board, because they had never given him anything of that before, so that he can communicate. Like, that's a fundamental right. We want him to have a letter board, and we want him to have access to age appropriate curriculum.
Mhm.
And they said no. They turned us down. And the reason is, believe it or not, this is one of these crazy twists in this whole world that, again, that we've discovered, that we're now immersed in, is that the Speech Therapist Association the National Speech Therapist Association, has come out with a statement against this type of communication because they feel, because it requires, in Stone's case, it requires a communication partner like me to hold the letterboard. And for most of the individuals, when they begin, there's a certain level of prompting and coaching that's required because, like I said, you're
Mm,
coaching the motor.
right.
So what they've done is saying, oh well, yeah, I think it's the communication partner. They're influencing it. It's not their true words. So there's that. So we were turned down, and we're like, are you kidding me? Like, are you kidding me? So we had to go through a legal battle. We filed a
Yeah.
lawsuit against the school district. Ended up with a settlement after many months, and yeah, a lot of battles, right, to get this. And in the meantime, trying to figure out, okay, well, what's the path? And
Right.
fortunately for us, our attorney steered us to a private school that catered to students who needed more individualized education, which Stone's
Hmm.
the right prime candidate for that.
Right.
They do one-on-one. The teach one-on-one instruction. So I'd reached out to them because I said, because I wanted to know, would they be open to having the letterboard, having him communicate via letterboard after getting
Hmm.
turned down by our school district. And the director of the school, didn't really understand. He's like, wait, how does this work? Tell me. And he's like, well, why don't you guys just come in and, we'll talk about it. So I went in with Stone because I wanted Stone to be it's part of his decision now. Now he had a voice. Again, think
Right.
about this. In your whole life, decisions have been made for you. Every decision has had to be made for you because you weren't able to communicate. But now that he could, I'm like, you are going to have a voice here in your education.
Right.
So we went in, and his name Tony's the director, great guy. Like I said, he and I talked recently on my podcast, but about this encounter because we came in because it was so memorable. So Stone's able to spell out. He's like, "Hi, Tony. It's nice to meet you." And it was just Tony and Stone going back and forth. And Stone was able to answer questions. Tony asked him, he's like, "What, Stone? What's your passion?" And Stone said, "My passion is learning. I want to learn."
That's
And
what I'm talking about. That's it. I need to
yeah,
learn.
it's just, and so we got him in there, and got him in his first real class. Right, again, remember he's been in these intensive ed classes his whole life. And he went in, and his first class was environmental science, was one of his first classes. And I'm in there, and he is just so excited. And the teacher launches into her lesson, and she's going through, and just it's like an online curriculum. She's going through it, and she
Right.
paused, and she said, "Stone, do you have any questions?" And he said, "Yes." You know, and I was just so struck, like, and I always say, I wish I could remember what the question is. I should make up something, but I can't remember, right? It's something like volcanoes, or it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah.
I almost started bawling because I'm like, this is the first time in his life
Man.
he's been able to ask a question in the class, and so they've been great. So now it's expanded, right? Because even though he's incredibly smart and he's able to take in this knowledge, it's still a transition to go from where he
Right.
was into these types of classrooms. And
Right.
we've talked about that. We're like, Stone, you have to learn how to learn, right? Just like we did. Like, this is like when we were in first grade, second grade, third, sitting in those classes, so much of it was prepping, right? For the next, this is how you learn this. You have
Hmm.
homework, all those things, right? Those are all things we take for granted that he didn't have. So this is what he's doing now. So now he's taking environmental science. He blew through algebra. He went pre-algebra, algebra, geometry,
Wow.
English, world history. He's going to be taking French. He knows multiple foreign languages. He's taught himself that just by watching YouTube over the years. So,
Oh.
and his goal is he wants to go to Harvard. His goal is to
And
go to
he
Harvard.
will.
He will.
Okay. And that's on period. Like, I love the fact that he even tried. Like, and I love, my mom said she loves parents that press for their children. And I do too. I love the parents that don't give up. They don't just settle for what others say. Like, no, my child is
Yeah,
not going to just be that mediocre. We're not doing that.
I appreciate that. And of course, it's just, I think almost every parent does that, right? It's, you don't know what you don't know though, right? Like, I mean, it's still easy to look back and kind of beat ourselves up, or especially beat myself up,
Yeah.
just thinking about what he endured, right? What it took to get to this point. I mean,
Right.
it's awesome. It's great. The future is bright. Like literally every day, there's just cool
Yeah,
stuff that
you're like
happens.
relearning your son,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
and your son
And
is relearning him.
oh, and it's just this incredible journey. I mean, like,
Right.
and just like new things. So I'll give you an example. Just this just happened last week. So we were invited on a panel. So we were talking about speech language pathologists. So those who are involved in speech therapy. I told you how the umbrella organization has taken this position against it, but a lot of individual speech therapists are learning of it. They're seeing it. They're like, well, that's stupid that that we're against it. So they're trying to learn more and press for it because they believe that in the right for communication. So there was a panel that Stone and I appeared on where he was able to show how he spelled, and we answered questions. And afterwards, a speech therapist reached out to us and said, "Hey, I work with a 13-year-old in this rural school district. He's just starting this process of spelling, and we're trying to incorporate it into the school. And the school's open to it. To their credit, they're like, yeah, we'll work with you." And she said, "But I was wondering, as someone who's been through it, would Stone be willing to be like a mentor and be on his IEP team to help, be a resource?" And Stone said, "Yep." He's like, he's all over. I want to be there. He says, "My goal is to make sure he thrives in school."
Hmm.
He wants him to have opportunities that he didn't have. So
I love that.
we we participated. We had the IEP meeting was last week. Participated via Zoom, and Stone was just using the chat window. Right, he's just typing away, sharing thoughts, input, suggestions, telling them like, hey, maybe headphones will help because they helped me, and just all
Right.
kinds of different things. And I was
Yeah.
you know, just obviously just incredibly proud, but also just so excited because it's a simple concept, but like, hey, maybe we can take this nationally. Like, because again,
Hmm.
there's a lot of non-speakers who are finding their voice. This methodology is spreading, as you can imagine, as more and more parents are learning about it. We're like, oh my God, I've got to do this.
Right. Right. That's so
But how
true.
cool would that be if to have like maybe a network of mentors, these
Oh,
these
I
older
I
teens and
agree.
20 something, right? So
Yeah,
it's
I
just that's an
definitely agree.
example of just all like crazy things that are just now opening up. Um,
Yeah, I love that. I think that's super, super dope. I almost had a few people because I did see him pop on. Miss Myrtle, hey girl, thank you for tuning in. Becca, Becca, hey girl, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you. That was one of my past guests. Um, and a lot of people, I've seen a lot of comments saying like your son's story is amazing. College bound, the passion to learn. And I agree because you don't really hear a lot of people sometimes they just settle for what what the basics of what autism looks like. They just settle for it. Just like how you said earlier, there's like a protocol of how people with autism is gonna be. And it's like, no,
yep.
we breaking that system. Over here, we breaking that system.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's one of those things where once you step away a little bit, it only makes sense because
Yeah.
you think about most high school juniors, no one knows what they're going to do, right? Like, you don't know what for a typical high school teenager, 16, 17, you're talking about how the world's their oyster, like there's all these options.
Right.
But unfortunately, like I said, for this population, a lot of times they're like, the world isn't their oyster. This is the path that we've carved out for them. This is the best that
Hmm.
we can do. And I just think that's unacceptable, especially when we know now their incredible intelligence,
Right.
capabilities,
Yeah.
passion for learning.
Yep.
Yeah,
And I think it's super dope because a lot of people, I mean, I feel like you, your family, and your son are leading an example of breaking that expectation. because a lot of people, you don't really see a lot of people break that barrier of what is known, what's
Right.
a lot of people, you don't see a lot of people do that. So, and also just me hearing your story, because I don't have autism, but I've seen people on the autistic spectrum, and it is like, okay, so this is what's going to happen, this, but to see and to hear that your son, not only he started following those steps, but it's like, no, 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 there's a little more. And now he's excelling. And he's talking about going to Harvard. He's talking about on a panel. Like, come on. That's
Oh,
super dope.
he's incredibly determined. And I've learned that when he puts his mind to it, he does it. Another fun story is I was until fairly recently, I was in our local Rotary Club, service organization. It was great, loved being part of it.
Mm,
And one of the things that the Rotary Club does is they have a student of the month, right? That way they award just certificate and recognize a local high school student.
right.
And so one of the things Stone loves to do on like his iPad is, I of course have just thousands of pictures and videos documenting his life, or like, right. So he loves to scroll through and kind of show us this. So he was showing me this video from old meeting a few years ago where we were recognizing a student of the month. I'm like, yeah, that was student of the month. And he kept showing it to me. And then finally, I'm like, I said, Stone, why are you showing me that? Ask the question. This was something different. I'm not going to try to guess why he's showing it. I'm going to ask him. And he said, I want to be student of the month.
Aw.
I said, all right. So I reached out to my former Rotary Club. Of course, I still have friends there. I said, hey, how can Stone be a student of the month? And so they said, well, let's can he get a couple of letters of recommendations from his teachers, and a copy of his grades. Send them in, and the committee will decide.
Mm-hmm.
Well, of course, he got stirred. Teachers love him. He inspires everyone at his school as well. And so he got it, and like I was just like, man, he made it. We went there and had a nice story in the local paper, and he has his certificate proudly displayed in his bedroom. He got student of the month. So that's just one example where I've seen like he gets these ideas, like he's like, I'm going to do this, and he's going to figure
Right.
out a way. And I feel like my job is just, and my wife, who's incredible because she's really the reason we're able to do this, because she carries the weight. She's the
Mm-hmm.
one who has the full-time job, who is able to kind of provide us with the means so that I have the flexibility. I have my own company, which gives you flexibility, right? But it doesn't, when you're this involved, it's hard to bring in quite as much income. We'll just put it
Right.
that way. So we know that we're privileged from that standpoint, but we're trying to take full advantage of that, both in terms of helping Stone achieve his goals, but also advocating for all of the others. I mean, that's the thing. Like you were saying, there isn't a day goes by I don't think about my friend just randomly calling me and telling me about this, and just thinking about just how happenstance it was, and how painful it would be, knowing what I know now, to think about, like I said, that path, but knowing
Mm-hmm.
that there are so many other students who are unfortunately trapped in their minds.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's why I'm advocating. I want to
I
get the
love
word
it.
out.
And I think that you should for sure continue to advocate, because I think that's very, 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 very important. Speaking of, first I just want to thank you again so much for not only being a guest, but just sharing how you navigate through life, but also how your son is breaking the stigma beyond his condition. I do appreciate it. That's the point of this show, to bring awareness and to bring insight that we have a disability, we have medical conditions, but we doing big ones. Like we doing big things, like for real, for real. So where can they find you? Because I feel like I'm gonna follow you. Well, I already follow you on
Uh,
Facebook,
yeah,
but I'm
yeah,
gonna
we're
follow
we're
you
we're
everywhere.
friends. Yeah, no, would love to. So, like I said, I have a website. So it's just my name, davidkaufer.com, and this is my personal website, and that's where I blog. I share things. That's where I get, if people
Mm-hmm.
are interested in having me speak, which I would love to do. They can find me there. I'm on, Facebook, David Kaufer. and Instagram as well, in terms of social, and LinkedIn. Like I said, it's those that's on the personal side. Professionally, I have, like I said, a marketing agency, Kaufer Marketing, if they want to check that out.
Gabe, can you put that up on screen, please? Because I feel like people definitely should know.
I would love to answer questions.
Follow you.
There's a lot to there's a lot to unpack. Like I said, it's been
Right.
an incredible journey. There's so, like I said, so much wrapped into it. And
Mhm.
people have questions, and again, there are others who may be in situations that may want to learn more about it. And I'm
Yeah,
happy. I love being a resource.
I for sure agree. I feel like a lot of people need to know more insight on, you know, different autism, but also what autism looks like. But then also there are ways that you can beat the stigma. There are ways that you can beat the norm, and you have a prime example. Literally, you
Yeah.
have a prime example of somebody. Find everyone, go follow him on
Thank you.
social media, please. His website, davidcaufer.com, and then on IG and Facebook, David Kaufer. Listen, I appreciate it so much. I don't take it lightly at all that you are on the show. I am going to follow you on everything, and I'm so dead serious. Like when I say that we're stuck, like you're stuck with me.
Yeah, well, no, I'm happy. And in the future we'll have to connect you with Stone as well and have conversations. I think that'll be
Yes,
great. So
I
for
would for
sure.
sure
No, we're like I said,
love.
we're connected forever now, and I really appreciate this platform and what you're doing. Like we had said, kind of off camera before the show. I think it's awesome that you're doing this. I will give a little bit of plug for my own, like I mentioned to you. I do have my own podcast. If people are interested in more autism specific, it's called The Lighter Side of the Spectrum. Just launched in November, so you could find that. And again, talking
Welcome to the
to
club. Welcome to the club.
thank you. Yeah. Well, hey, you set the bar high. I hope I can get to that point where you're at. But it's all about helping people, right? And talking to
Yeah, it
people
is
and all
exactly.
that.
That's what it's all about. It's all about helping people. Thank you, Gabe. Come on, Gabe.
Yeah,
You
thank
better
you.
know what you're
Yeah,
doing.
man, you are a rock star. That
My
is
guy.
he is the yeah,
Lighter
he
side of the spectrum. Yes,
yeah.
please go follow. When do you go live? When do you air?
So we're weekly, so
Okay.
we're dropping. So the next episode, I think we drop on Tuesdays. So you can
Okay.
find it on Spotify and Apple, all the usuals. But yeah, we've got a nice little. I think we're up to like a dozen episodes. So
Oh
we're
yeah,
we're
you in
we're
there.
we're, we're starting we're starting to stack them up. We're starting
Yeah,
to
you
rack them up.
official. You official.
Yeah.
More than you got more than one, you good.
Oh yeah. No, it's one of those, like I'm hooked. Right. This is what
Yeah,
I'm
it's
meant to
fun.
do. It's fun and it's great.
So true. So true. Thank you again so much for being a guest. Gabe's gonna put you in the back and then we're gonna end the show and we're gonna be out of there. Thank you again. I
Thank
appreciate it.
you, Domo.
You're so welcome. Listen, first of all, Eric, I see you, big dog. Thank you. Cause I'm following him too. You feel me? Like a follow for a follow and a follow and a follow. Man, that's my guy. Like I am so like I feel like I'm so refreshed and I'm so like what else? What else? What can we not do at this point? At this point, what can we not do? Because you just heard, literally, you heard of a testimony of his son, them telling him that he's going to be nonverbal and he's not going to be able to do anything outside of dot. Hold on, wait a minute, wait, just give me a minute. Let me gather up my resources. And he can't do what? My man's about to go to Harvard. What are we talking about? My man's on panels. What are y'all doing for the regular smegglers? What are y'all doing? What are y'all doing? Because we over here got limitations and we doing it big over here. Like, period. We doing it big. So I'm talking about. That's my guy. I appreciate him being a guest. I appreciate his story. I appreciate him coming on, doing what he does best, because this is what he does. And he a podcaster too. So that's really my guy. Because we locked in. This is what we do. Podcaster to podcaster, you feel me? Well, I feel like mine's like more of a talk show, but y'all get it. Okay, so thank you, everyone. Church announcements. Y'all ready for the church announcements? All right, cool. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I definitely appreciate it. I don't take it lightly at all. Thank everyone. I'm gonna say this every single episode because I don't take it lightly that anyone that comes in, tune in, seeing what we're talking about, commenting, watching while you cooking, all that. Like, and Ken. Thank you, Miss Myrtle and Ken. Cause period. Miss Myrtle, you are right with me. I love you. And Taisha, I saw you too. Very encouraging and informative. I agree. Again, thank everyone for tuning in. Thank you for being guests. These earrings are so dope, bro. I just can't. I can't. I'm about to put these genres on display. These earrings are too dope. Thank you again for tuning in. Next Tuesday we're live in living color. You can do what you want to do in living color. You feel me? That's all I'm saying about that. Next Tuesday we live 7 p.m. Let me see if I can do it without Gabe putting it on first. 7 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Wait, is that right? Okay, yeah. 7 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, and 10 p.m. Eastern. Let's go. 5 years later, and you did it. You got to keep your hand to the plow. Come on. Next Tuesday we live in living color. Like, that's it. I appreciate all y'all. Last church announcement. If you want to be a guest on the show, or if you know someone that wants to be a guest on the show, and they have a disability and or medical condition, or they're a caregiver, holla at me. This is the disclaimer. I need you to have a disability, medical condition, or you are a caregiver. Don't come to me talking about you hurt your elbow. Don't do it. Don't come to me talking about you actually ran to the wall because you didn't turn on the light and now your toe hurt and now your elbow hurt. Okay, be careful next time. Cause what? I need you to be going through some real life stuff. As you can see, our guests don't play around. We be doing it big in 2025. Dang, that ain't even right. But y'all get it. If you want to be a guest on the show, or if you know someone that would be a dope guest, let me know, because One Bean Baby ain't going nowhere. We ain't stopping. We too legit. Too legit, too quick. What? Okay, I'm out. Don't log off though, cause you already know. Y'all know we out here. I'm about to go eat my. Y'all, we on the fast. Woo wee, child. Keep me near the cross. Okay, I just need y'all to pray that. Keep me near the cross. I love y'all and I appreciate everyone so much. I love it. Don't log off though. But Gabe, I need you to get me out of here. You feel me? I love y'all. Gabe, get me out of here. Get me out. Get me out. Get me out of here. Get me out of here. Get me out of here. Gabe, that's your cue.